Guys, in terms of player characters, I'm not sure there's anything better than a silverback gorilla or a grizzly bear. Okay. Think about the level of strength both of these animals have the ability to actually deliver. I'm not sure the server even matters, whatever server you're playing on, North America, Africa, it doesn't matter, right? In this context. And I do think also, wait a second, hold on. I'm going to put my money on, personally, the grizzly bear. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I'm going to go on the limb and say that, just mainly because I'm trying to think like, I'm almost positive it's going to be slightly more agile than the silverback gorilla, but the silverback gorilla is more intelligent and most likely will have a higher stealth stat, most likely, because a grizzly bear is not very stealthy, bro. Okay. Intelligence and stealth may win over higher agility and strength in this context. Definitely not a glass cannon, character at all. But I think I would probably main, a grizzly bear. All right, definitely. But let's continue. Let's go ahead and jump into this immediately. This video is coming from the channel Tier Zoo. Let's do it.
The silverback gorilla and the grizzly bear, two of the most fearsome builds in the game. Because they're not playable in the same servers, the question of which of these is more powerful, or specifically which one would win in 1v1 combat, is a common subject of debate on the game's forums. So today we're going to delve into the stats and abilities of both of these powerful.
Okay, hold on. So these are going to be the ratings here. As expected, the stealth stat is much higher on the silverback. The strength, again, is going to be much higher on the grizzly bear, along with the agility, right? But what's better? Do you want more intelligence and better stealth, or more strength, more agility? Just run through things, tanking things all day long. This is a tank build, no doubt here. Okay, no doubt. But all right, let's get it.
Powerful builds, and to determine which one would come out on top in a deathmatch.
Let's go.
Let's start with the gorilla. In my primate tier list video,
it's S.
I ranked the gorilla as S tier.
Oh, yeah.
It was the only primate other than the human to get that top tier rank. And there's good reason for this. Just have a look at this thing's base stats. The gorilla is easily the most powerful
that's
of all
defense,
the
not
primates,
agility?
with a power stat well beyond most mammal builds within its weight class. Its arms allow it to climb trees with ease, and keep in mind, they do this without investing in any of the perks which make climbing easier, like cling pads or hooked claws.
Right, this raw strength.
No, gorillas do this on strength alone, and they still make it look easy.
Right.
And so it should go without saying that those arms can also toss most other players around like a ragdoll, and can dish out some serious damage in a short flurry of blows. Gorillas also have massive canine teeth, and although these are mostly for intimidation, they can act as an extra damage-dealing attack option if the situation calls for it.
Okay.
Mobility-wise, they move surprisingly quick given how short their back legs are. While not great at distance running, their burst movement potential is shockingly high. Defensively, gorillas don't have much to talk about. Their thick hide and bulky muscles offer some protection, but with only skin and fur covering their exterior, most attacks will be effective against them. Luckily, their large size gives them a pretty generous hit point pool, so they should be able to tank a decent amount of hits in a pinch. Stealth-wise, gorillas are above average. Their coloration works pretty well in dense forests, although not as well as true camouflage patterns would. Because they walk on their hands and feet rather than hooves, they can move much more quietly than most herbivores, although not quite as silently as builds with padded paws and retractable claws. And finally, intelligence-wise, gorillas are far above average. Their complex social structure requires significant investment to the intelligence skill tree in order to unlock it. And in doing so, gorillas also gained access to basic tool use and team tactics. The most common tool use tactic seen in gorillas is the use of sticks and rocks in order to more effectively dig out termites from their mounds. Next, let's switch over to the brown bear. In my bear tier list, I rated the brown bear at the low end of S tier. Taking a look at its stats, we can immediately see just how overpowered this thing is. Although not quite as powerful as the polar bear, it's still one of the strongest carnivorous mammal builds in the entire game. One of the few that is able to take down builds like the moose, bison, and elk solo. Its power stat is just crazy high, mostly due to the insane damage a bear can dish out using its claw swipe attack.
Right. And I'm telling you guys, where I'm still landing right now, on the Grizzly being the one that it's going to be, somewhat dominant at the end here. I hear all the Silverback gorilla talk. I can imagine these are going to be absolutely flooding the comments as we're watching this. Definitely. But I am, in fact, still leaning towards the bear, almost exclusively because of its strength. Yeah.
It's not uncommon for a single swipe from a Grizzly to one-hit most
like
players,
a one hit
as it deals both blunt force damage and slashing damage in no small amount.
Yeah.
Unlike the gorilla, bears also regularly use their teeth in combat, rather than just for intimidation, and in this aspect they excel as well. Defensively, the brown bear is quite sturdy. It has thick, loose skin, similar to the honey badger, which allows it to absorb serious blows without taking too much damage to their vitals. And with an HP stat similar to the gorilla, even if their opponents do score a critical hit, it's unlikely to mean an immediate game over. Stealth-wise, brown bears fare a little worse than the gorilla.
Okay.
Bears may not stick out that much visually, but they are some of the smelliest builds in the entire game, to the point where their odor often gives away their position long before they're detected via eyesight. Luckily for the brown bear, its incredible movement speed and endurance can allow it to close the distance on fleeing players, even if they get a head start fleeing from the bear's scent. With a top speed roughly similar to a horse, very few builds can reliably escape a charging bear, especially given that bears can climb without issue as well. For those keeping track, this puts the bear's stats pretty much all either above or equal to the gorillas with the exception of stealth. Of course, there's one stat we still haven't discussed yet.
Go ahead.
The bear's intelligence. When it comes to the gorilla versus grizzly debate, one thing that's often brought up is that the gorilla should be able to use its intelligence to easily outsmart the bear and gain a significant upper hand.
Not in this
Unfortunately
context.
for the gorilla, I vehemently disagree with this assessment.
Right.
Not because gorillas aren't smart, but because bears are not dumb. A common quote you hear from human park ranger builds is that there's a great deal of overlap between the intelligence of the smartest bears and the dumbest humans, to the point where designing an effective bear-proof storage container is often impossible because it will also keep out a good number of humans it was meant to be used by. Bears are the most intelligent of all carnivoran builds, smarter than cats, dogs, weasels, foxes, seals, and hyenas.
Wait. You guys definitely told me that bears are kind of like just gigantic dogs. Okay, now I'm thoroughly confused because he separated them. Listen, in terms of the animal kingdom, I'm incredibly, absolutely ignorant. I'm telling you. All right. I don't know nothing about these things. But I do know, at the very least, the grizzly bear is going to win this battle.
Their giant brains are a necessity in order to memorize key points of interest across their vast territories, and for them to strategize how to access the best quality loot. This isn't to say the grizzly bear is going to invent some galaxy-brained gorilla trap on the spot or anything, but neither is the gorilla. Gorillas are incredibly intelligent builds for sure, but their intelligence manifests in their complex social dynamics and their tool use. In this scenario, it's 1v1, so the social dynamics is a non-factor. That just leaves their tool use, and in this regard, I think most players drastically overestimate the gorilla's abilities. Gorillas are not supreme bushcraft weaponsmiths. In fact, their use of weapons at all is almost non-existent in the gorilla player base.
Right,
they will use rocks to more efficiently access insect larvae.
Right.
But as for personal defense, the only strategy gorillas have access to is the intimidation-based technique of tossing debris in an adversary's general direction. When done in groups, this is extremely effective, and is often how a party of gorillas will ward off an approaching leopard in their natural ecosystem. But 1 versus 1 versus a bear, there is no way this would be enough to deter an attack. The bear's own high intelligence would give it a high chance to resist the intimidation effect, and once the bear has closed the distance, the bear is winning this fight at least 95% of the time.
Bro.
The gorilla would need not one, but several critical hits in a row to successfully take down a bear. Meanwhile, the bear would only need a few good bites and swipes before it's game over for the gorilla. So ultimately, that's how I think this matchup would go.
Okay, all right. I'm glad we landed here because when I saw the matchup, I was just like, I sat and thought about it for a little bit before I actually started. I hit record, right? And I was just like, I don't know. I think the bear has to take this battle. Like, don't get me wrong. I want the gorilla to win because gorillas, absolutely, right? But not in this context. I think the grizzly bear is like king of the jungle, bro. All right, I think so. I think. It's the king of the wilderness. Let's not mess with that or the polar bears. Well, I guess the polar bear probably is the king of that. But you get what I'm saying here, all right? It's definitely going to be a bear. Those things are scary. Like, have you seen them in Fallout? I wish I could main a bear in Fallout of some sort, guys. An irradiated bear. Right? But that's not the point here. But yeah, would I main a grizzly bear going forward if I had the choice? Absolutely. All right? Absolutely.
Admittedly, I think it's a bit unfair to set up a scenario where the gorilla's most powerful ability is taken off the table, but the bear remains completely untouched. But that's the downside of investing in team tactics. If you ever find yourself caught off guard with no allies nearby, you might lose battles that you should otherwise at least have a fighting chance in. If you find this analysis unsatisfactory, we can approach it another way, which would be to take a look at their matchup spread and see if we can find any easy comparisons. While gorillas and bears never encounter each other in the wild and have no experience fighting each other, both the gorilla and the brown bear need to contend with big cats. While obviously not in North America, on other servers, brown bears actually sometimes share hunting territory with the tiger. This is the largest big cat build in existence, one which is powerful enough to, on rare occasion, take down rhinos and elephants solo. Matchups between bears and tigers tend to be pretty even. While there are recorded instances of tigers defeating bears and bears defeating tigers, generally these matchups tend to end in stalemates, where neither player is truly defeated. However, when we take a look at the gorilla's matchup spread against its most common big cat opponent, the leopard, we see that the gorillas actually tend to lose this matchup. Leopards are...
That solves everything then, I think, to be honest. I'm not sure leopards can take on tigers pretty well. So that solves everything then.
Far less powerful than tigers. Yet nonetheless, even a leopard can score kills on gorillas. I think this is more a function of the difference in the bear and gorilla's defensive stats than its offensive stats. Even with its above-average constitution stats, the gorilla's low defenses make it too much of a glass cannon, and in a massive slugfest fight like the subject of this video, the inability to absorb a lot of damage is an absolutely crippling disadvantage. No joke, I get this question at least once a week. It's to the point where if someone DMs me saying, I have a question, I just answer, the bear wins. And like 50% of the time, that's all they need. Now you know why. Hopefully you see me as an unbiased and trustworthy source for these sorts of analyses.
Definitely. All right. Guys, expected. But also at the same time, I really truthfully do not think that the silverback gorilla is a glass cannon build. I don't really see that being a thing. But I guess in the context of other more super stealthy animals, and most likely, I do think that it's an incredibly strong player to play as, let's say. Incredibly, but I definitely would never put it anywhere near the North American server. Let's stay away from there, because I think that would absolutely be abysmal. Like, if you want to actually find out, it would have to actually happen in the wild, and let's just not set that up, okay? Because a grizzly bear is just gonna win, bro. The bear is gonna win. Right? Like, I mean, what type of question even is this, guys? But we're here for it. I love Tier Zoo. Guys, send me more if there are any more that I have not encountered. I think about a year ago, we went on a gigantic run. You guys sent me these things every day. So if there's any more that I haven't encountered, let me know. We'll jump into it, guys. All right? But in the meantime, check out his channel. The channel's great, guys. It's this type of thing. But I'll catch you guys later.
Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.